Company is Amy's Bread. Robert Iamazzo, Managing Director of Troxy, will introduce Amy's Bread.
Thank you. Amy is living the American dream. She worked in a restaurant. She went to Paris for a few months and realized that her dream was to really open up her own bakery. So in 1992, she ventured into a very dangerous area in 1992, for those of you who are old enough to remember, it wasn't the safest place to walk through the streets. She enlisted her family, and there are some pictures here that show what, I think it was a fishmonger that you took over this space and converted it into a bakery. And since 1992, she has opened another retail store in the Chelsea Market. She has opened another retail store on Bleecker Street. And right now, approximately 50% of her revenues are coming from her wholesale division, selling her breads and sweets into the major restaurants here in New York City. What's interesting is Amy has stayed true to her traditional baking. The stuff is absolutely delicious, filled with butter, all the good ingredients. It's an indulgence, and she doesn't do cronuts. She's not in with the fads. She's there with just good quality, beautiful looking breads and delicious tasting sweets. She's here tonight to talk about raising some capital. She's hit the mark where to move to the next level, to open up some more retail stores, to expand in some other business lines. The need is to bring some capital into the company. And with that, I will have Amy chat with you about her company. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. The first thing we're going to do is watch a little clip from a show that was on St. Patrick's Day from The Chew, which is on ABC TV. And it was a video in our store showing me demonstrating how to make Irish soda bread, along with a bit of history about Amy's Bread. So I'll step to the side. So compared to technology companies, what I do is much more of a slow process, a slow food, but I brought some visuals so you can see what we do, basically. A lot of beautiful handmade breads. We have a lot of beautiful pastries, cupcakes, cookies, and all this. I've written a couple of cookbooks, but it started back in 1992 when I first opened. Also, I'll have to say it's hard to sum up 22 years in a 5-minute period, but I'll try to give you a quick overview of a few parts of it. This was the storefront that Bob mentioned on 9th Avenue, which I had this idea. I really wanted to start a restaurant, and eventually it became a bakery because there was just not enough good bread in New York. This was in my neighborhood. I walked by it every day, and I thought, you know, this place is so beautiful. It has an old wood storefront. This could be a bakery. And eventually, I convinced the landlord to take me on as a tenant. He would not sign a lease with anyone for 5 years. So finally, he signed on with me, and I started my business here. 650 square feet and a bread oven, a mixer, and all we had was handmade bread. I had 5 employees. They were all women, and then I hired a guy. Now I have half men and half women who work with me, but at the time, it was a bunch of girls. And so what we did was we made all these beautiful breads. And of course, right after we opened our little shop, everyone wanted something sweet. And I didn't really know how much New Yorkers wanted sugar. So after a few months, we added a few products. We added Irish soda bread and a few cookies, coffee cake, and so on. But after about a year into it, we started to feel more and more demand. And we did wholesale and retail both, so I was selling bread to a lot of restaurants. I had worked in 2 restaurants as a cook and chef, and so I had known a lot of people already in the food industry. And so after the business grew and we saw that there was a lot of demand for what we were making, we needed a bit more space, and in 1996, we found the Chelsea Market. Actually, they found me first. The visionary man who designed it came to me and said, you know, I want to open this beautiful market with a lot of different kinds of foods. I have a fish market and I have a vegetable company, but I need a great bakery, and I hear you have the best bread in New York. And I was very flattered. I walked through the space with him, which was an empty warehouse with dumpsters of debris, and he said, you can take whatever section you want, and you can show people how you make your bread by hand through the window, and people can buy food from the source here. And that totally struck a chord with me because that was what I wanted to do, to let people know that we are a handmade product. Everything is made with quality. It's all people that do this product, and it's something that people don't know much about. It's always made in a warehouse somewhere. So we signed a lease, and that really launched us into the world of New York City, where a lot of people found out who we were. And we stayed in that big kitchen there for about 15 years. And then over the years, as I mentioned, people wanted sweets. We had more room to make sweets, so we added on all different kinds of breakfast products and bars and cookies. And then in 2000, we launched cakes. Way before the cupcake craze, we had lovely cupcakes and cakes. Way before the panini craze, I had created a lot of interesting sandwiches on our bread, and we had a lot of grilled sandwiches since the mid-90s. So we've always been innovative. We've always made a lot of interesting things that people come to look and see what we're doing, and then they try to copy it. Oh, well. And then over time, we actually opened another store, which is in the Village on Bleecker Street. And in, I think, in the last few years, I've written these 2 cookbooks. But eventually, we ran out of room in Chelsea, and we needed more space. And after looking at Manhattan and seeing how much the rent was now, and how you can't really make a profit making handmade products in Manhattan, so we found a great space in Long Island City, and we've moved into a large warehouse now, where we have a beautiful bakery where our bread and pastry kitchens are combined. And over the last year, we've been building up a lot of new business now because we have the capacity to really make a lot more products than we had. We've added a huge selection of pastries, the morning pastries like Danish and croissants, which are complex but beautiful, and we find that there's a lot of interest in that. So we've been developing our wholesale business on the pastry side and on the bread side, and now we're poised for growth. So the next phase, hopefully, is what we're here to talk about today. We'd like to open more retail stores and also develop more of the wholesale business. We actually have a lot of new businesses here. Our business has grown about 20% on the wholesale side, but in order to grow, we also need capital just to build that business up and be able to make all the products that we need. Everything is made by my staff. I have about 210 employees now, and started with only 5. And everything is done with a lot of care. We make it 3 times. We deliver bread almost 3 times a day around Manhattan. It's all made around the clock. We have about 200 products. So when you walk into our store, it's a beautiful selection. It's very tempting, hopefully, for all the different kinds of tastes. And the other things that we're hoping to do over the next couple of years, we also have a catering business. It's sort of a part of our business that not so many people know about, but we do a lot of nice breakfast platters and things like that. So we want to grow the catering business and also possibly franchise, and then work on developing more of our brand and working on the PR side as well. I don't know if the chew is up here. Okay, ready? Okay, let's watch the chew.
So, Amy, I have a question for you. Nowadays, there is a lot of attention being paid to gluten-free products. Does your bakery offer gluten-free bread?
Well, we are a bakery that's filled with flour, so we can't exactly be certified gluten-free because it would be, we don't want to hurt someone who has a gluten intolerance. But we think that there are a lot of people that just don't want to eat gluten because it makes them feel better. And for that crowd, we're starting to work on a bunch of products that are gluten-free. We have a couple of things that we've made already. And we're getting a little bit into it, but we can't really become a gluten-free bakery with what we do in our bakery.
While we're working on the video, I'll ask you the second question. What type of products does Amy's Bread offer for catering?
Well, for catering, we actually, first of all, we're based in Midtown in Hell's Kitchen, and we have a good reach to the corporate offices around the area. We do a lot of breakfast platters with all of the items like muffins, scones, Danish croissants. We have a coffee service that we provide. Also, we make quiche and breakfast sandwiches. And then for lunch, we have a huge array of sandwiches. We make about 20 different sandwiches every day. Plus, we have cookies, bars, bread twists, salads, big group salads, like different kinds of salads that you can share, and also other kinds of interesting beverages. So we try to do things that are a notch above what you see at every business meeting. That's sort of like, oh, I can't look at another plate of that. It's actually a lot more tempting, and we've had a big interest, but we want to let people know more about it. We don't have a big enough reach yet, so.
Thank you. watch the video?
We could get through this show without some Irish soda bread, so we decided to go to a baking expert, Amy's Bread, right here in New York City, and get secrets from a master. Take a look.
Good afternoon, Amy's Bread. Would you like to try a sample of our Irish soda bread? This is our bread for the month of March. Amy's Bread opened in 1992, and I opened it in a little storefront on 9th Avenue. When I first started, I had 5 employees, and we made about 10 or 15 kinds of bread. Over time, we've added on multiple locations, and now I have about 200 employees. Today, we make about 25 different kinds of dough every day. One of the most popular breads is the French baguette. We also have beautiful, crusty, rustic Italian bread. And for March, we're doing Irish soda bread because, you know, we want to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
I would absolutely have this at my St. Patrick's Day. Kind of reminds me of my grandma's that she would make.
It's crunchy, like bittersweet, all at the same time.
Oh my God, I want to take a basket home.
Oh, I'm coming with you. Our Irish soda bread is based on a recipe from one of my former employees' Irish grandmother named Tilly McCormick, who provided us with her traditional recipe from the town that she's in Ireland. You take buttermilk and an egg, whisk that together. This is the most important thing. You want to hydrate the baking soda right at the beginning. Irish soda bread is a quick bread, which means that it's leavened with something like baking soda or baking powder, which works very quickly to rise. Now we're going to mix our dry ingredients: flour, baking powder, and after that, a little bit of sugar. I have some kosher salt, which adds that nice savory quality to the soda bread. And finally, caraway seeds, which gives me the flavor that you expect from Irish soda bread. Next, I'm going to add my butter, which is the only fat in this bread, and break it into small pea-sized pieces. We use Manuka raisins, which are very big and plump, and they add sweetness to the Irish soda bread. And now I'm ready to add the liquid. I'm making a well in the middle, and I'll just pour it right over the top. If you really don't want to over-mix it, you need to just mix it until the liquid and the flour are perfectly combined, and stop with that. I cut it into 5 wedges, and the point of cutting it here is actually to allow the oven heat to go inside and for the bread to rise from within these cracks and spaces. Right after you finish shaping it, you need to put it into the oven immediately to capture that great leavening ability of the soda. When we make something like Irish soda bread around a holiday, we want to be part of the celebration of a family or a group of friends, and the ultimate final loaf is a wonderful, satisfying thing to make for other people.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Well,
Hey, Time Warner Cable hooked up with HBO Go, so Thrones goes everywhere. Ow, time out.
Time Warner Cable puts Game of Thrones anywhere.
Okay, stretch it out, guys. Everybody good? Sunblock.
Whatever you're passionate about, Time Warner Cable embeds.
Okay. Well, that was exciting. Yes, actually, the wholesale business is a really great area for us. First of all, we have an amazing salesperson who is my husband. He's been working with me for the last about 12 years at the company, and he started on, said he would stay 6 months, and he ended up getting challenged to keep on selling and selling, and he's built relationships. We have about 300 wholesale customers that we deliver to every day, so he's built all the relationships with many chefs and restaurateurs in New York. And we've just signed on another salesperson, a veteran from the bread industry who's been selling for about 15 years in New York. She's amazing. And so the two of them together are a dynamic duo, and we're kind of poised for really doing well with wholesale now. Oh, thank you.
I was just going to ask, there are a lot of bread shops in the New York City area, and I was wondering how you differentiate yourself from this.
You know, there's a lot of chains and things that have been opening, and there are little things opening all around New York, but I think we're kind of unique because our products are of higher quality. They're not sort of rubber stamped out by a chain. They're just very, I guess, a little bit different. We stand apart from those places. We've been part of the neighborhoods that we're in, and one of our slogans is your neighborhood baker for 20 years, because we've just been really in the community. So I think that we differentiate ourselves with quality, with our product selection, with great customer service. We have great staff. I have a really wonderful crew of people that are selling our products every day. And people notice the difference. We get a lot of response to our website and all the different places people can rate you about how we do, and we've had a great response.
Yeah, I guess.
I had a question about the transition to Long Island City. So you still, sorry. I had a question about the transition to Long Island City. So you said that everything is done by hand. In the shops here, I guess, do they still make it on site, or is everything still made in Long Island City and transported, 3 times a day?
Right, exactly. So we do both, actually. In Chelsea Market, we have a little kitchen where we're making some breads. We make pizza, breakfast items. In that kitchen, we kept a bread oven. The other 2 locations are now mainly just retail. So we transfer our food 3 times a day. So as we bake it, coming out of the oven, it's in the truck, transferred over. We have the mid-morning bake, the PM bake, and our sandwiches are made and sent over there. So everything is made within a couple of hours and transferred. Queensboro Bridge is right near where we are, and we're just back and forth.
Thank you. We're moving to our next presenter.